United, who unusually for them won nothing. They will be out to prove their best this afternoon. Join us for all the action next. To have Roy Keane back in their starting lineup. He didn't just miss the player, said Alex Ferguson today in one of the newspaper articles. We missed his influence in the dressing room. He takes over the captain's armband from Peter Schmeichel today. Jaap Stam in United's colours, and so is David Beckham. Everywhere you look, Trevor, there's something happening, isn't there?
Some marvellous talent there just coming up that tunnel. We're all talking about foreign players, you know, and how many there are now in the Premiership. We've got the two best teams in the country playing against one another this afternoon. There are only 8 foreign players in this lineup. And more importantly, there are 11 English players on view this afternoon.
Yes, I think those sentiments would be echoed in some dressing rooms up and down the country, maybe not so much in others. That debate will run for a while, I'm sure. Manager of the Year, Arsene Wenger, took that title and the trophies from Manchester United. How much will that have hurt in United's dressing room?
Terribly. I mean, we touched on it before, Richard. I think that Alex Ferguson, you know, became obsessed with Europe, and I felt that no matter what they did at Manchester United, he couldn't imagine for 1 second that Arsenal could put that run together like they did. In one way, you know, he was rather unfortunate because in a league that's so competitive, for a team like Arsenal to win 10 on the belt and without their most influential goal scorer, Ian Wright, it was quite remarkable.
That's why they're here today, alongside Manchester United, who by all right to finishing second got the invitation here today. Grace Harler, another one of the heroes from Highbury, who didn't make the World Cup squad. But again, that was a controversial omission in some quarters. Clenched fist from Alex Ferguson. How many more times this season will we see that? Minus the smile. Gray Parlour, Trevor, were you surprised that he didn't go to the World Cup?
Well, I think he should have been there, but I can understand why Glenn didn't select him, because he made his run a little bit late. Like Arsenal in many respects, you know, if you compare the way they were playing at the start of the season, how they finished the season, I think that 2 or 3 players that became better and better. Parlour was one of them, Anelka had a tremendous influence, and the 2 in the centre of midfield that we touched on, Petit and Vieira. They grew in confidence, they became better, and I think it benefited the side because they became a very, very good unit through playing together over a period of time.
And how seriously should we take the outcome here today?
Well, it depends really on what they've done prior to this game over the last 3 or 4 weeks. For some players, they're very short, I would have thought, on match practice, and because of that, perhaps the organisation won't be what it should be. But I think in Manchester United's case, with having a European game on Wednesday, it's vitally important, perhaps more important than what it is for Arsenal. But when the 2 of them lock together, whether it's a friendly game like today or whether it's a Premiership game, there is always great rivalry. I think that it's going to be a great contest. I mean, to pick a winner is so difficult. Ultimately, I think it comes down to one bit of individual brilliance. You know, could it be a Beckham free kick? Could it be a piece of individual brilliance from Dennis Bergkamp? Andy Cole got 25 goals last year. You know, everyone's talking about him leaving. He's too important to Manchester United.
Could it be Paul Scholes or Giggs? I mean, like I said, everywhere you look, there's something happening, and there's quality literally all over the pitch, isn't there?
Or could it be from a set piece, the famous set piece of Arsenal? Adams goes forward, there's always the danger from set pieces. I mean, there's so many areas where the 2 of them can produce a goal. That's why it's so difficult. There's very little to choose between them. You know, Arsenal won the championship, but they only won it by 1 point. Let's not forget that.
Our guest of honour today is Mr. Les Owen, the Chief Executive of AXA's Life and Pensions Operations in the UK. AXA, of course, the new sponsors of the FA Charity Shield and the FA Cup this season. It's Keith Wiseman, Chairman of the Football Association, also out there. And if you're a Manchester United fan, all you want to know is that so too is Roy Keane, leading the line. Second last season. They haven't won it in recent years. They have been second, Manchester United, but it's not a position that they like finishing in. The Gunners here took the title and then came back to Wembley to win the FA Cup, their first double for more than a quarter of a century. Dennis Bergkamp missed the cup final, of course, starts this afternoon. Otherwise, it's very much anti-well, isn't it?
Yeah, just looking down through the list of players here and how many players actually played in the World Cup and how many actually scored. One player we didn't mention this now, of course, was Paul Scholes, who had an outstanding World Cup for England. Don't forget that brilliant goal that he got for us. David Beckham, his free kick, fantastic free kick. Mark Overmars had a good World Cup. Dennis Bergkamp.
Let's wish him well on behalf of English football, David Beckham. Put nonsense behind us. It's a clean slate.
Pray silence and please stand for the national anthem.
We're back. Football is home on Sky Sports. Let's join Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you, Richard. Arsenal trained at 1 o'clock yesterday to get the feel of this early kick-off and the heat, of course. This is their only chance for match practice with all their players available. So it's a side of full strength, the cup final side plus, because Dennis Bergkamp, who missed out against Newcastle, replaces Christopher Wray. Ian Wright gone to West Ham, David Platt retired. The major summer signing, Argentinian Nelson Vivas, is amongst the substitutes.
Well, I'll be brief today, Mark, because we expect both sides to play pretty much the same systems they did last season, and as the season goes on, I'm sure this will vary, but great battles all over the pitch. Overmars against Neville down that left-hand side. Who will come out on top of that one? Bergkamp against Anelka against Stam and Ronnie Johnson. Big battle there. And I think the biggest of them all, Parla, Vieira and Petit, I think will go in against Beckham, Nicky Butt and Keane.
It is a very strong Manchester United side. Jaap Stam making his competitive debut for the club alongside Ronnie Johnson in the centre of defence. The formidable four in midfield reconstituted: Beckham, Keane, Butt and Giggs. And Paul Scholes preferred to Teddy Sheringham as Andy Cole's main ally in attack. One notable absentee with a minor ankle injury, Jesper Blomqvist, the Swedish left-sided player purchased from the Italian club Parma.
Well, on paper it looks an enormously strong side, this Manchester United. I don't think they can improve it, but they have. I think Jaap Stam will be a plus. He will be an improvement to them at the back, and with him and Johnson, they've got the pace and the experience to cope. Ahead of that, I'm interested to see whether Giggs is going to play here, Mark, up and down the left, or will he get licence to come in as he did last year and play through the centre? Scholes will undoubtedly do what Sheringham does, drop off, but I think unlike midfield, I think today we might find Scholes a lot more further forward and a lot more of a threat in the box.
Roy Keane, who of course captained Manchester United here in the Charity Shield a year ago. They beat Chelsea on penalties, but we didn't see much of Keane after that. Been Arsenal's captain since March 1988. Well, it reads like a passage from schoolboy fiction, but fantastic fact for the Frenchmen Manu Petit and Patrick Vieira, winners of the World Cup, on top of Arsenal's amazing domestic double.
It don't get any better, does it?
It doesn't. But they've got to try and sustain. Well, David Beckham, not the first to find out that the wind blows strongest at the top of the mountain, but I'm sure he'll have the strength to withstand it. Well, after Arsenal's double, Manchester United are here at the invitation of the Football Association. The AXA FA Charity Shield pitting together the two English clubs with the most trophies in the 90s, the top two in the Premiership last season, and of course the two clearly major attractions to those who envisage a European Super League. Arsenal have at least conceded in one respect, the change of shirts. They won't want to concede anything else to Manchester United. That other double of enormous significance in their success, those two Premiership wins over the club from Old Trafford. Here's Lee Dixon. First run for Nicholas Anelka, and Yapstam, first real test. Well, he's been maybe rescued by referee Graham Poll, a free kick given in the defender's favour.
A little nudge, I thought he was just about letting it in, Martin, but it's a little warning. It's a super run from Anelka, in between the centre-backs down the right-hand channel. The ball's perfect for that type of run, just waited enough so it wasn't running out of play. And if United hold a line like that, Martin, expect Anelka, and Overmars in particular, to look to exploit any space in behind.
Anelka has negotiated a new contract on the back of his exciting performances last season, a contract that has been organised for him by his older brothers. Really recognise the potential in the family. We'll be listening, of course, to reaction when David Beckham gets the ball, but
the one thing I would say, Matt, is people don't boo bad players. Trust me on that. They don't boo bad players. It's nothing new to David. He's been getting that since he came right through this side. He'll cope with that.
Adams with a header, then on from Winterburn. Harry Neville. Roy Keane trying to get forward. You do sense, and it's sometimes hard just to pitch this particular fixture. It's a showpiece occasion. Some managers bring their teams here definitely saying this is the end of pre-season, not the start of the real season. But you do feel amongst the fans, and Andy was pointing out to me before we came on the air, particularly the Manchester United fans, that they are ready to go. And this is, in their mind, part of the real thing.
Well, Roy Keane back. 2 minutes into the game, concedes a free kick. Well, you're right, I think this is as good an atmosphere that I've been involved in a Charity Shield match, Martin. There's a game on to be played, and until such time, I think, as both managers decide to make changes and take important players off, I think we'll get a contest. These two teams haven't achieved what they achieved last year and years gone by coasting in games like this. And there's a little example of what I mean.
Well, Graham Poll is actually taking serious exception to that challenge by Gary Neville on Mark Overmars. Overmars, who arguably got the most important goal of Arsenal's entire season, the winner at Old Trafford in the middle of March. Overmars targeted by Neville in the wrong way, says the referee. Yellow card.
No charity there, was there? For the referee.
Here is Mark Overmars. Roy Keane has been an exemplary patient for the physio David Fever, has worked so hard, and I'm sure Roy Keane would want me to point out the excellent work that the Manchester United medical department have done. It's Overmars with a shot to get Keane back into the thick of things. There was some suggestion he might be rushed back at the end of last season. They decided discretion was the better part of valour in that sense.
Sensible decision, in my opinion. Ready to go now.
Neville. Beckham. Interception by Vieira. More force in the challengers. Another free kick to Arsenal.
Well, that was bordering on the reckless, I have to say, from Roy Keane. A quiet word, I think it's appropriate. He launched at that tackle. As if he's saying, you might have ruled the roost last year, but there's going to be a bit more of a contest this year. And we thought there would be an edge in this game with us. The quartet of midfield players that we have there, Martin. And that's the certainty.
Anelka over Mars. Fair challenge from Butt. Nice layoff from Scholes. Giggs is on the move. Andy Cole has been given offside.
Yeah, good decision. Just delayed the ball a little. The right idea to try and release him. Two options when you can travel with, like Ryan Giggs. You could go on here. They're almost 2v2 at the back. I wondered whether he'd just drive on. He looked to pass. Cole just about a yard offside.
On the free kick, Tony Adams gave Lee Dixon a charge down that right-hand side that a 34-year-old in this searing heat might not have fancied too much. Of course, there have been signings by Arsene Wenger to suggest that he's looking for cover for his two illustrious but ageing fullbacks. But there's plenty of early passion here between Arsenal and Manchester United in the context of the Charity Shield. Giggs. Well, Scholes would have been given offside.
He was.
The has been stopped as the ball broke Manchester United's way to Beckham.
Yeah, it's times like that. Just wrong choice. Again, Giggs though, ominously, that's twice in the opening 5 minutes of this match. He gets caught in that little area just between midfield and back four. The ball on, you can see Beckham walking the screen mark. That was the ball really, just to release him. And Scholes clearly offside.
But the signing of Blomqvist has been itemised as an opportunity for Manchester United to use the range in Ryan Giggs' play. He has shown great quality as a central midfield man, but he's often said he loves to play up front. If Blomqvist is up to the job on the left, well, maybe we shall see Giggs in a whole variety of roles. He's still only 24. Who was never present for Norway in the World Cup finals, is starting here with 13 of the 22 who are involved with their countries in France '98. Cole, still of Manchester United. But Keane, Overmars showing that he can tackle as well. Keane recovered. Beckham. Scholes. Parler tucking into the centre alongside Vieira to make that interception.
That's right, good tempo about the game. Isn't always in this showpiece a tendency over the years to start slowly and popping about and use it as that, but nothing. We certainly used it for fitness.
Keown. Giggs in quickly on Winterburn, breaks for Scholes. Put towards Butt. He scored from about that spot in a Charity Shield a couple of years ago when Manchester United hammered Newcastle here.
Now that's the one thing now that these two teams would want, Mark. They talk about what they'll get out of the game and they'll use it and they'll say, yeah, if we lose, that doesn't matter. If we win, great, no problem. But neither team would want to lose heavily. I think as Newcastle did that day. And that's not the way you'd want to go next weekend with a spanking in the Charity Shield.
There has to be a decision today whether by the orthodox method or it would be penalties if a draw after 90 minutes, no extra time. Manchester United well versed in these occasions. It's their 5th Charity Shield in 6 seasons. They've won the previous 4. Parler, Petit. Manchester United have been doing their preparatory work in Scandinavia, matches in Norway and Denmark. Of course, they have a huge support base in those countries. Arsenal have been quietly away in Germany. Rigorous training, away in a camp away from the limelight. A couple of games. The England World Cup men just restricted to 45 minutes each match practice, and for Petit and Vieira This is their first game since the World Cup final. Adams. Cole quickly back on his feet. Scholes trying to get in. Typical vigilance from Winterburn.
Good positional sense more than anything, Mark. As a back four, it's important that when you're under pressure, the full-backs are tucked in very close to the centre-backs, as Nigel Winterburn was there. But as you say, we expect that from this back four.
Well, Beckham will take the corner. Stam, the opportunity maybe to show his prowess in the air. And waits again. Arsenal defend again. There's Martin Keown that time.
You think it'd be tough to score against Arsenal, Mark, with crosses, with the two centre-backs, great headers, the two central midfield players who are 6 foot plus as well.
Nice ball by Beckham to Butt. He's in there hunting in the centre.
A little bit more curl on that, you know. He played it a little bit too straight, Mickey Butt. A little bit more curl away from the goalkeeper. Scholes might well have gotten the end of that.
Cleverly across to Winterburn. History against Arsenal today. No Southern club has won the Charity Shield outright since Spurs in 1962. Long before the Wembley switch, even in the mid-70s. Arsenal did a half share with Tottenham 7 years ago when there was no penalty decider, which I think, Andy, you missed because you were attending the birth of your daughter Sophie.
Correct. So happy birthday tomorrow to you, little girl.
Trying to provide the sort of service that he did in the cup final on Hinge Newcastle. Andy Cole actually played in that Charity Shield for Arsenal back in 1991. His last game for the club. Freddie Sweeney to make his name. Here's Vieira. Getting beyond Gary Neville with the ball. Supported by Anelka. Vieira again. Bergkamp just trying to stay onside of the centre. It wasn't easy to do that. Policed by Jonsson. Keane. Irwin, who was credited with a hat-trick in Manchester United's last warm-up game. 2 penalties and a deflected free kick, but a hat-trick nonetheless. Adams having problems getting it away the first time. Cole beats him in the air. Scholes trying to come up with something imaginative. Typical of him.
Not quite sure what he had in mind, whether it was just to help it back into the box or whether it was a shot. This is a better ball, and it's a much harder one for Adams to deal with than one just hoisted aerially. It was played behind him, difficult to deal with. I think he was probably trying a short ball, Scholes, just looking to turn and whip it towards goal.
Paul Scholes, England stock certainly rose during the World Cup, and it was pretty high when he went there as one of the brightest young talents in the country. Of course, he started in the side with Sheringham for his country, but he has been picked for his club in the Teddy Sheringham position. Sheringham not quite at his best, I think it's fair to say, for Manchester United over the second half of last season. Whether he's paid a price for that. Play on is Graham Poll's message. Manchester United prepared to do that without too much appeal. Now maybe Arsenal can break with Ray Parlour. Bergkamp going to the left.
I think he was playing for Anelka, Martin. He looked, Anelka was trying to make a run across Ronnie Jonsson, but I touched on the fact that Jonsson's quick. And he's certainly no slouch, and he was keeping up with him, and Anelka just put the brakes on. And the Parlour was just aimless, but what a well-timed tackle that had to be at the other end of the pitch from Emmanuel Petit, right on the edge of the box. Had to make it right, had to get it perfect. According to Graham Paul, he did.
He got the ball, but only gave it to Beckham. Lovely arranging the pass to Ryan Giggs. Scholes goes in, the flag has gone up. It was a very demanding ball for David Seaman to try and cope with.
Great ball, absolutely first class, Martin. Again, it's not hoisted, he just shapes to come in and just plays it in behind. It's so tight, he's about half a yard offside, but look at the trouble the England goalkeeper's got in dealing with it. And he turns around and is happy to see the flag up, and this is the tackle at the other end. Just gets enough of the ball. Excellent tackle.
Keane helping out Stump. Hoping that Giggs might have just let that run and either player would have to make a real chase for it, but energy expended in the sapping circumstances. United might just be a few days ahead of Arsenal in terms of fitness work. Their first target as near as next Wednesday. Ferguson told yesterday that Manchester United would have a Champions League qualifying fixture to fulfil against the Polish club, LKS Łódź. Arsenal's eyes fixed on a week on Monday and their first Premiership fixture against Nottingham Forest. You'll see it, of course, on our Monday Night Football on Sky Sports. I've been told that the temperature reading is 96 degrees.
Yeah, it would be hot down there.
It's quite a grey morning. I think when the players woke up, they might have felt they would be spared the sweltering temperatures, but the sun broke through about an hour before kickoff. And maybe all but these 22 are very happy to see it up and down the land. You can usually bet your bottom dollar if you want some good weather, it's when the football starts again. Given offside.
Yeah, they hold a good line, Manchester United. No one's dropping back offline. They're pretty well drilled in that department at the moment. They look bright though. You talked about them playing on Wednesday. I think they've started the better. They've looked more of a threat, certainly in the attacking half, than Arsenal have.
Stamp. Seen too much of Bergkamp as yet. Here's Parler. The area. A little bit of a tangle then, and then Patrick Vieira going down. Flipped by Nicky Butt. Free kick against Manchester United.
Well, not overcommitting too early in this set piece. They're all pretty laid back. The two midfield players, Tony Adams, is jogging forward.
Adams has come alive. Ball not deep enough as he tried to get in behind Stamp. Cole, nimbly done. Suspicion of handball by Winterberg. Not in the mind of Graham Poll. Vieira. Here's Giggs. Butt's gone ahead of him. Cole and Scholes are of course there. Butt, who had to cope with the disappointment of being one of the 6 left out by Glenn Hoddle late on in England's World Cup calculations. Martin Keown got a place in the squad but didn't get a game in France. Not by Beckham. Keane. Nice work from Manchester United's midfield. Giggs and Arsenal holding their line well enough. Here's a chase for Anelka. And Schmeichel found himself outside of the area, and he and Ronnie Johnson exchange a few words.
Well, I think Johnson's always in control here, Martin, and you see that as a goalkeeper. He almost gets in Johnson's way, Schmeichel, but he dealt with it. The one thing you say, he was effective.
Bergkamp. His World Cup wasn't too disrupted in the end by the hamstring injury that forced him to miss the end of the Premiership season and the FA Cup final. But it's this season we're looking forward to, and of course later today, Grimsby against Ipswich on Sky Sports 2, 3:30. And the first Super Sunday from the FA Carling Premiership, Southampton against Liverpool. New management team, Roy Evans joined by the Frenchman Gerard Houllier, Michael Owen. And that's at the Dell next Sunday at 3 o'clock. That's Sky Sports 1. Southampton might be unveiling a former Charity Shield warrior, Mark Hughes, which is the rebel in this fixture.
I don't think there's a might if he's fit.
I'd be pleased to hear you say that, but he'll wait for David Jones to say the same thing. Vieira. Bergkamp. Off goes Anelka again, and Schmeichel comes again, and not such great difficulty this time. Pass just overhit.
He's been quiet, Dennis Bergkamp, Martin, you're right. We've had 20 minutes of the game, and that's probably the first time he's been on the ball and looked to do something positive with it.
Vieira pursued and caught by the stretching leg of Andy Cole. And Keown, that's going to be a yellow card for Martin Keown.
Should have let it go though. He should have let the play go. Although he caught Scholes, Martin, Scholes got it. You just watch, he just beats him, and having flicked it inside, Andy Cole's now away. And he really should have let it go and then come back, the referee. But hey, pre-season for him too.
Graham Poll, one of 18 elite referees on the Premiership panel. The smallest the panel's ever been, and other clubs will see plenty of the individual officials. Arsenal against Manchester United at Wembley. Memories of a thrilling FA Cup final in the late 70s, Alan Sunderland and all that. And today an appetizer for what's to come over the next 40 weeks or so. Vieira. Good positioning as you'd expect from Dennis Irwin. Cole, mindful of the fact that Keown has just been booked and had to be more circumspect in his defensive work.
A lovely turn that though from Cole. I thought he had no way to go. Keown's quick. He's rolled it off the outside of his right foot. He looked sharp there, I have to say, very sharp.
Just got a sharp comment though from his manager. Beckham. Now Keane. Thinking about going to the centre. He is in there along with Scholes now, and Cole. But to tease it in. David Seaman, strong favourite to get that. Overmars against his fellow countryman, Jaap Stam. Who did well to get a foot to it. And he'll won a few plus marks maybe with his teammates and indeed his new fanatical supporters by coming out on top there. Not an enviable position for a defender with the ball at Overmars' feet.
No, he stood up well, Martin. He followed him, tracked him across. It was good defending. But that's what Overmars does in this system at Arsenal. He just let Neville go ahead of the play and try and get a cross in. And when that cross was gobbled up by the goalkeeper, quickly released him, and he was in great open space then to receive the ball.
Time for dilly-dallying like that. The culprit was Vieira. Manchester United swarming around him. And Vieira has to concede a free kick. That's certainly down to lack of match preparation of support Beckham. And Paul allowing Manchester United to go on this time. It's Winterburn for Bergkamp. Now looking for Anelka. Was a figure of some authority then, but back come Arsenal with Bergkamp. Nudge on him by Gary Neville, good refereeing, and then clever ball skills from Bergkamp, but the pass leaving Arsenal without possession. Scholes. Pace picked up again. He's played it, didn't really expect to chase it. No one else was moving in initially for Arsenal. And Dennis Irwin. Here's the whistle. And turns round to see the car. So both Gary Neville and Dennis Irwin booked for Manchester United. Martin Keown for Arsenal.
Well, he's in good form. The referee started the season well. 2 yellow cards in the first 25 minutes for
I think he might point to one or two of the early challenges to the players, indicating the seriousness of the occasion. Some big issues for referees this season. The shirt pulling became a topic of conversation in the World Cup. And the players helped by good officiating, with the bad tackles being punished heavily. Study very closely as to whether they try and take extra advantage by what could be seen as cheating. Giggs is fast. It's put wide by Scholes in any case, but the flag was up once more.
That must have been close, Martin. He's been the best of all the attacking players on show in the opening 25 minutes, Ryan Giggs. He's been on the ball, he's been effective, he's been bright. I'm not so sure this was offside. The ball's released, it must be so close, it's not. Dead on line, ball's on its way. Now Tony Adams goes up, that familiar hand, right at him. So often, you know, that's what triggers linesmen. They see the arm go up from the defender. Theirs does so too. The little unlucky Scholes given offside.
But he did miss it.
He did.
So maybe his blushes were spared. Pointing out that there's no real extra instructions about these tackles from behind. Bad tackles from behind were always to be punished by a red card last season, so there's been nothing from the World Cup edicts that's affecting the referees and their judgment this season.
Yeah, there were just two things that I saw in the World Cup, Martin. You touched on one of them, the shirt pulling, that I hope don't keep into our game, and the other was, of course, the diving all over the place, and that was just awful. So hopefully these two things don't come in. We shouldn't allow them to.
Well, it's particularly awful when the attacking players are being favoured by some of the interpretation. And we'll all applaud that, but they can't have it every which way. Giggs, Keane. Albert Seaman's Charity Shield memories will include taking and having a penalty saved by Peter Schmeichel when Arsenal met Manchester United here in the 93 such occasion. That played on David's mind when Glenn Hoddle was looking for penalty takers in St Etienne, and he didn't volunteer to take them. Overmars, Keane caught up with him.
That's brilliant play from Roy Keane, Mark, because Gary Neville actually shouldn't have jumped in down the touchline on Mark Overmars, and having done that, Keane spotted there was a gap there. Arsenal tried to release him, and that's something they were missing. Spotted the danger, got back in. We know how quick Overmars was, or is. Keane wasn't found wanting.
So Arsenal have a corner. Taken by Bergkamp. Comes out here to Parla. This comes out to him. That's a fine ball by Parla. Good angle for Vieira. Gets in the cross. Stam gets his head to it now. Petit, who finished last season amongst the goals for his club and for his country, and of course he scored past Peter Schmeichel when France beat Denmark in the World Cup. Parlour. Kept in by the Mancunian in the Arsenal ranks, Lee Dixon. Parlour really flying in on the crosses. Whether they would be in a Premiership game, or indeed they would be if it was a bit cooler. Beckham, Cole. Scholes gets there ahead of Adams. Andy Cole eagerly pursuing the ball as it dropped. Overmars. And a chance to play it to Parlour, who was through the centre, not on the right-hand side. So half an hour gone at Wembley, where Arsenal will be regular visitors for their home matches in the Champions League. Not just down to getting a bigger crowd. The pitch, believe it or not, at Highbury, as it stood last season, wasn't big enough for UEFA regulations, so they've had to change that somehow. So all round it seems a good decision. Bergkamp. Made space for the shot, and a very good shot it was in the end. Yeah, like Dennis Bergkamp exploding onto the scene for the first time really in the game. Michael having to stretch to keep it out.
Well, that's the thing about people like Bergkamp, and that's why you keep them on, Mark, even when they're not playing well or not having an influence, because they can do something like this. Just shifts it to the right, only gets a yard. That's all he was looking for, and he hits the target. First real threat of the match that any goalkeepers had to deal with.
Dixon. Bergkamp's touch made the tee just stretch, but he beat Beckham to it. Winterburn. Dixon well forward. Trying to give and go with Overmars. Picked off by Stam, and then Keown does a bit of picking off himself.
Just maybe a bit of getting to know you there with Stam and Andy Cole, with them so high up the pitch.
Petit's pass. Michael comes with the fist to deny Anelka.
Just talking about Cole, Mark, with them so high up the pitch, the Arsenal centre-backs, Andy Cole was wanting to just run in behind them. Stam was looking to play it into feet.
Dixon, Parlour. And Owen at his back. Now Keown. T and Vieira. The pair will prove to be for Arsenal. Winterburn. Palmer needs a bit of support infield. Vieira. Both Anelka and Bergkamp going for this. Bergkamp's back heel, Anelka still there. It might come for Overmars! Well, Mark Overmars does it to Manchester United again. After 33 minutes.
That's a lovely finish. Absolute beauty. Not his strongest side, but this is all down to the run again of Bergkamp and Anelka. I thought he had a chance once in the end, but he just lost his footing. Full match to Anelka, Martin. He didn't give it up. He wasn't giving Johnson an easy ride here. Just as it's back here, you think, well, he's got it under control. But he did enough Anelka to stop the clearance. And from there, that was an exquisite finish. Absolutely exquisite.
A Wembley goal for Overmars in the FA Cup final. A Wembley goal here in the Charity Shield. And memories of that vital Premiership goal past Manchester United at Old Trafford in March. It's Arsenal 1, United 0.
A little bit against the run of play. Thought United with a better start in the match, but it just shows you if you've got quality, and we mean genuine quality, as long as you're defending well and not conceding, there's always a chance that you'll create something.
Bergkamp just had the ball a second or two ago, and he had Overmars charging through the middle, and Anelka going to the right-hand side. Both passes were on, and the fact that neither of them being delivered, Manchester United might have been in great danger of going 2-0 adrift. Offside. 16 goals last season. And he started where he's left off. Mark Overmars.
Lovely finish, as you say, Mark. He has to back away from goal, but then he's guiding it more than just driving it. That's a controlled strike. It isn't just a blast, he just controls it. He knows where he wants to put it, exactly where it ended up. High to the goalkeeper's left, and Schmeichel, no chance. I mean, he's arguably the best in the world, might well be Peter Schmeichel, but even he could get nowhere near the strike, such was its quality.
Champions, so often heard by the Manchester United players from their fans. It's the followers from Highbury describing accurately Arsenal Football Club, defending champions, and a cutting edge to their attack that Bergkamp and Anelka, still only a teenager, remember, and Overmars can provide. And from Anelka's point of view, what a massive season this could be, because with Ian Wright gone, and at the moment no replacement forward being linked as Manchester United were with private, no signings in attacking positions, but Marco will expect to play regularly. Diggs. Look in Beckham's direction, and looks again. It's just gone a little bit wider. Where wanted to find him. Scholes for Cole, comes for Ryan Giggs. He has improved. I remember 4 or 5 years ago, Andy, you were quite critical of Ryan Giggs' final ball. I'm sure you would say that over the last couple of years that's got better. Phenomenally so. That wasn't one of those examples.
He's been the major threat, and I think if he's allowed that space that he's been trying to get and achieve, and that's just off the back four, no one really picking him up. You just feel at some time in this match he's going to make a real telling contribution in there.
Scholes. It's a good contest that between Butt and Parlour. It's ended with a Manchester United corner.
Well, it's another little example of me and why this Charity Shield match is a bit cut above the rest of most of the others that we see, Martin, is that. I mean, that's desire that we saw right at the end of the season from Ray Parlour would have done. Here we are, 7 days before the start, and he's at it.
Beckham's corner. Comes for Roy Keane. All good defending. Nigel Winterburn.
Good block. Quickly out to it. Good example, sprint there, get yourself as close as you can and then take your position. That's what Winterburn did. You'd expect Arsenal normally, Mark, to deal with corners pretty comfortably, such as the height advantage they have, unless there's a little bit of a lack of concentration.
Stam eased off by Tony Adams, the way Stam would expect to be allowed to get away with it at the other end, I'm sure. Just a tentative appeal to the referee. Anelka. Bergkamp back for Anelka again. And Arsenal very nearly in again.
Lovely football. Lovely football. Anelka showing that he's ready to go, Martin. This was good play. Had to battle first, but then he just gets in behind Nicky Butt, and yet again one of the full-backs is very, very deep. I think it might have even been Dennis Irwin over this right-hand side had come over. And he was really deep. Playing Anelka on, and had the ball been better. And just a fancy Anelka to make it two.
Scholes. Dixon doing the necessary for Arsenal defensively. Parlour. Dixon stretching forward outside Ray Parlour. Right again by Arsenal's aggression. Here's a foul this time. Each club are now allowed to announced 7 substitutes, 5 of whom can be used, and for all sorts of reasons you'd expect a good sprinkling of the allocation to come on at the start of the second half, certainly during it.
The goals just rattled Manchester United a little bit, Mark. The football had been good up till then. They've just lost a little bit of the composure. Arsenal, on the other hand, naturally have just grown from there.
Albeit for me to tangle with a clairvoyant, but one of the predictions that Arsenal wouldn't score today.
Get his feedback.
Overmars. Here's Dixon. He doesn't make too many runs through the centre, but he's furthest forward here, and again Schmeichel has to sweep it up.
Lovely run, but untracked, totally untracked. Fatigue. The midfield player has gone back with him.
Beckham. Now Giggs and Cole actually isolated Martin Keown then. Better pass, and Arsenal's lead might have been threatened.
Well, it should have been bigger rather than shorter. I always fool with passes like that, and Arsenal have done it twice. And then Elkan Petit have nearly got through. The difference there is that the goalkeepers had to clear it up. Had that been the case when Beckham looked to play Ryan Giggs in then, it's a much better ball.
Certainly playing well forward on the left-hand side, and it's just a starting position, really. Scholes has dropped a bit deeper, but Keane, the captain, has a crack. Comfortable for David Seaman.
He'd be happy with that, David Seaman, just to get a bit of work more than anything, Mark. Although they've played well, Manchester United, they've done so only up to a point. They just lacked the main threat in the 18-yard box and in and around there at the moment. Arsenal coped with that part of it quite well.
Scholes. Beckham. Challenged by Winterburn, and Beckham's got to chase now with the ball with Bergkamp for Arsenal. This came across Beckham's run. There was contact there. Arsenal still in possession. Tony Adams who's roaring through the centre, a la home against Everton. Though the Premiership crown was clinched. There's no Steve Bold to put him through, though.
Yeah, Bergkamp doesn't produce that ability, Mark, to pick out a fellow centre-back. Steve Bold did.
Great ambition for Adams in the circumstances, and pretty good show of fitness too. Schmeichel to do a lot of work off his line. Already a reminder for Premiership defenders what Arsenal threat will be. And also some reminders from Ryan Giggs too. And his chasing there has inconvenienced Lee Dixon to the extent of a free kick being given against him.
Well, no one's getting an easy ride, are they, today? Players are putting defenders under pressure all over the place.
There's an opportunity for Manchester United to equalise before half-time. Came quickly to stand just the wrong side now. That looks like an outstretched arm by Parlour, but
it looked like it to me as well.
There goes the error. There'll be some Manchester United complaints if this leads to a goal. Well, Nicky Butt stopped complaining and got his concentration on getting the ball back. David Beckham still having a word with Graham Poll.
I thought he just, it certainly looked from here as if Ray Parlour just dipped his arm into the ball just to control an awkward bounce.
Ricochet, nearly a fortunate ricochet for Scholes off Vieira.
We can have a look at it, Martin. As it bounces, he waits for it to bounce, a little bit of spin on it, checks, and well, it's close. Beckham thought so, Johnston thought so. The referee was on the other side. He had his body between the ball and the referee. That might have been why it wasn't spotted by Graham Poll.
Overmars making it difficult for Gary Neville again. We're into stoppage time. A serious competitive tone to the first half of the Charity Shield. Between England's top two, certainly that's what the Premiership table says from last season. Deep corner towards Adams, knocked back loopingly towards Keown.
Beaten by Ryan Giggs. He'd have fancied that for a minute, Martin Keown. Adams did his job, that's the threat they have. A lot of height, can play it near post, back post. He did his job and just knocks it back. So did Ryan Giggs, he's on the post, he had come off it. Just gets enough on it, flicks it on to Martin Keown.
Another string to his bow then.
Yeah, he's played well, man, I have to say. He's had a pretty good first half, Ryan Giggs.
The first half that's come to an end with the Arsenal supporters in good voice. Mark Overmars, a thorn in Manchester United's side again. The ball that both Bergkamp and Anelka chased. Bergkamp got there, Anelka didn't give it up, and Overmars pumped it into the roof of the net. Not much in it to that point, but at half-time in the sunshine at Wembley, it is Arsenal 1, Manchester United 0.
At pitch level is 95 degrees inside Wembley Stadium today, and it's beginning to feel like it, I can tell you that. Pitch is being provided today by our airship. There she is, one of only 19 around the world. If you see one in England, that's it. It's the only one in England. Makes you feel ill, though, doesn't it, looking at it? Up and down she goes. Football later today, incidentally, over on Sky Sports 2. In the First Division, it's Grimsby against Ipswich at 3:30. And right now, the FA AXA Charity Shield, Arsenal against Manchester United. And the Gunners, as they did last season, in front. In 4 attempts, they've scored once. Mark Overmars, the goal scorer. And Manchester United, for all their football early on, just 2 attempts at goal, 1 on target. And 3 bookings as well, already. Neville and Irwin from Manchester United, Keown from Arsenal. Ball in play, 32 from 46 played, and that's an impressive statistic, but mostly it has been a midfield battle. United 56% of the possession. Trevor Francis is our guest here this afternoon. I think
Christopher Wray replacing Dennis Bergkamp for the second half. Arsenal's starting 11 in the FA Cup final reconstituted. No alarms for you Arsenal fans. Bergkamp playing his first football since he took part in that World Cup match for 3rd and 4th place for Holland against Croatia. So scheduled Arsene Wenger to make some changes, and Bergkamp the first perhaps of several for both managers. Christopher Wray, the Liberian, who scored the winning goal in the FA Cup semi-final and chipped in usefully towards the back end of last season for the Gunners. Manchester United start the second half of the AXA FA Charity Shield. 1-0 down to the champions. Here's Gary Neville. Beckham. He's going in strongly, and then Petit, the quicker to react. The ball broke loose. It's going to be a very tough act, of course, for Arsenal to follow this season. But one shouldn't underestimate the competitive core at the club. They probably want to just increase the depth in the squad, certainly in terms of backup forward players. They have signed Nelson Vivas from the Argentinian club Boca Juniors, played in the World Cup, played against England. Might be scheduled to understudy Lee Dixons and Nigel Winterburns of this world. Anelka. Scholes. Andy Cole trying to get away from Martin Keown, but Keown not having that. Cole chasing on to good effect because he's forced a corner for Manchester United.
He gave himself good depth, Mark Keown, Mark, the defender, that call properly. He didn't look to hold the line and play offside and risk it. He was happy and comfortable in his own pace against Cole.
Corner from Beckham. All read by Manu Petit. And here goes Overmars. Supported by Parla. They've got a man over here, Arsenal, if they play it right. But Lee Dixon winds himself up for a crack. Schmeichel certainly found the shot hot to handle.
I don't score many, Lee Dixon, but he certainly strikes this as well as he struck any. 25 yards out. Drilled, moves a little. That's what troubles Peter Schmeichel. Just move through the air, just a touch.
Scholes. Parla making sure the ball didn't drop to Giggs. Neville dispossessing Overmars. Scholes. Now Giggs has got it. The stretch by Adams. And Overmars in behind Gary Neville. Stam's got to go across and try and deal with the threat of Overmars again. And he does get in the way of the attempted shot from the Arsenal goal scorer. Let's get a word from our reporter on the far side, George Gavin. George.
To update you on Dennis Bergkamp, Martin, I've spoken to the Arsenal doctor and he said Dennis just felt a slight tightening of the hamstring, so it's precautionary, no problems at all, just coming off before it does become a problem.
Well, I wouldn't want anything to happen to that. It's such a warm day, Mark. That's might be a little bit more of a worry than you expect. You wouldn't expect many people having muscle problems in such a warm day as this. Certainly not in the first half, maybe later on with tired muscles.
Mark Overmars had some hamstring problems during the World Cup. Reported back in full working order.
Oh, they missed him in his most important game.
It's not getting big against Brazil. Typical piece of defensive heading from Adams. A bit of shoving there by Anelka.
The threat. You can see the worry almost, Martin, on the players, the defenders, Ronnie Johnson and Stam, and the ball's arrowed over the top of them. And I'm thinking, you know, here he comes. Blistering pace Anelka has, no doubt about it.
Neville. Now Irwin. Plenty of support gathering in the centre for Manchester United. Just overtaxing Scholes. Well, Manchester United's standards slipped last season in the league, 7 defeats. It's the worst statistic in that respect for them since the Premier League was put in place. Gary Pallister departing back to Middlesbrough. And a lot amount of money, best part of £11 million, it's spent on Stam in as his replacement. Brian McClare's gone, of course, as well. Some of the youngsters, Ben Thornley and Kevin Pilkington, the young goalkeeper.
I just think to Trevor before the game, man, isn't it strange to do a big game of Manchester United with neither Pallister or Bruce in the heart of that defence?
Well, you might have missed it, Andy. I think you were still away, but we covered a tournament on Teesside last weekend, and who should be sitting side by side in the stand? Riverside Stadium.
Pallister and Bruce.
Exactly.
Probably arguing as well then.
Well, Schmeichel wasn't there, so... Steve Bruce, of course, the new manager of Sheffield United. Got to a winning start yesterday. There's some activity on the Manchester United bench. Stam was the Dutch Player of the Year of the calendar year '97. Ronnie Johnson. Irwin. Well, you would expect the pace to drop for all sorts of reasons in this second half. Primarily the heat. Level of intensity, which was certainly good for us as spectators. Arsenal leading by that familiar scoreline, although maybe not as familiar as it was in George Graham's day. 1-0. They've gone on from 1-0 to get some big victories under Arsene Wenger. Off goes Nicky Butt. Another of Manchester United's Norwegians who were in the World Cup squad. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had a fantastic first season at Old Trafford, but was blighted last season by injury, by illness, and the end of the season by a sending off. The suspension for that not still fully served. Scholes, Beckham.
Well, it surely means Scholes just drop it back into a midfield goal he filled. A lot of occasions last year, Martin. I think that'll be the change, and Solskjaer will go pretty much up front with Cole. But they've been comfortable, Arsenal, defending. I think what we're seeing today is that if anyone wants to take the title from them, Martin, they're going to have to play pretty well to beat this side. The back four and the goalkeeper look, they've looked for years. A unit bedded in, ready to go to work, so to speak. Two Frenchmen have protected them well. And they've been, as Trevor says, the threat of the pace up front is there for all to see.
Beckham. This early kick-off time, incidentally, at Manchester United's request, to allow them to get back to Manchester at a reasonable hour today and really get down to business tomorrow for the Champions League qualifier against LKS Łódź in Poland on Wednesday. Overmars. Here's Ray, nothing really right of him, so Parler through the middle, and when he spun round then and the weight on the pass carried the ball into his stride, there was a good sight of Schmeichel's goal.
It's a lovely weighted pass from Ray, and he sums this up pretty quickly, Ray Parler. I think he probably was looking to have pass in his mind when the ball was coming. Didn't quite get the ball through, he just cut across it, sent it swerving. And that's been the nature of the game, Martin, in a strange way. They've had a lot of possession, Manchester United, and been good with it up till 25 yards from goal. And haven't really had the cutting edge today. It sounds surprising when you think of the talent there. Apart from Giggs, who's looked at a genuine threat, no one really else has. whereas Arsenal, when they've gone forward limitedly, they have looked a threat.
Bad bobble at Wembley.
He'll tell you that. He's bigger than me, so I'm not going to argue with him.
Well, it wasn't a successful kick, whatever the reason. Throw to Manchester United, taken by Irwin. Arsenal still leading by a goal to nil. They haven't won the Charity Shield outright since 1953, when they beat Blackpool, who qualified, of course, through the Stanley Matthews Cup final here. Over Mars. Oh, and Christopher Ray put in by Anelka. Back to Ray again. 2-0.
Well, he got it second time of asking, but once again there's a huge debt, and Anelka and Ray know it, to mark over Mars. What a run. Carried the ball 40, 50 yards. A wonderful run, even more. And then just picks the pass out. Sucked in Stam, sucked in Johnson. Dennis Irwin's not there. Giggs just trying to get round. Schmeichel does his bit. He goes to ground. He saves it. But Ray gets away with it. Gets away with it and knocks it in.
Well, the scoring substitute for Arsenal. And a Wembley goal for Christopher Ray. Comes off the head of Adams. Cole settles for the corner.
Well, it might be the Charity Shield, Martin, it might be a pre-season match, but trust me, Alex Ferguson will not be sitting on the bench enjoying this.
There may be a chance for Manchester United to improve the manager's mood. With the Ryan Giggs corner. Solskjaer going to the near post. And it came off Martin Keown. Johnson was going in. You might remember he got his first ever goal for United in the Charity Shield a year ago. Johnson! That hit Keown, and he managed to just back away and make it a softish surface. The ball struck his body so that it didn't fly up and into the net for an own goal.
Cole's unlucky here, Mark, because it just goes behind him. You can see Andy Cole right in front of goal. If it dropped anywhere near him rather than a yard behind him, he surely would have tapped it in.
Beckham. Well, it might be said after this game that Manchester United had one eye on Wednesday, but that wasn't reflected in Alex Ferguson's team selection, nor in the way that his players set about their business here. With some very competitive work in midfield. A couple of players collecting early yellow cards. And Roy Keane lucky not to join them. Solskjaer was really going nowhere, but the referee was only a yard or so away, deciding that there was a foul on him, and it's a free kick. David Beckham just trying to inch further forward to try and get it really within his range. And how many of these would he have taken in England training against David Seaman? There's one. Petit. Ryan Diggs. Spinning away for Parla. No joy for Overmars though on that occasion. Irwin. Roy Keane won't give this without giving it his real best shot, you can be sure of that.
At times, if you've been critical in a game like this, Mark, they've just been a little narrow, Manchester United, when they've got forward in advanced positions. And it's made it a little easier for Arsenal to defend. The back four have been nice and tight, very close together. Haven't really been stretched across the width of the pitch in the defending third too often. That's made it easier for them and more difficult for Manchester United to thread little balls, look for little 1-2s.
Cole.
Like that.
Looking quickly on the seat. It might drop for Giggs. Cole is such a quick turner. Giggs again for Andy Cole. And went Tony Adams. Ball cleared out of the Arsenal penalty area. And Manchester United were looking certainly as threatening as they've been in the second half. Cole back for Giggs. Cole not quite able to convert the cross. Goals. With a shot that was deflected by Winterburn. This is more like it.
Yeah, it's the most stretched Arsenal have been, Mark, defensively. They did open up a little bit more width. I don't know whether Andy Cole just takes his eye off it. He certainly does that. That was a free-header. It was there to be headed. It was there to be really put on target, and Andy just almost closed his eyes to it.
Seaman didn't get there. Scholes, Johnson. Cole, Johnson, Solskjaer. All sorts of Arsenal bodies in the way, and eventually Adams, who wasn't one of those, picking it up on the edge of the area and picking out a fine pass to Parla. Manchester United trying to get their numbers back, and they're helped by an Altus crossfield pass which made Overmars check back. Just to put a few passes together here and calm things down and stop Manchester United building up the head of steam. More football for you later today. Sky Sports 2 from the First Division. Grimsby against Ipswich. And next Sunday at the Dell, Liverpool, Michael Owen and all against Southampton. Goals. Checked by Vieira, and this ball fell for Parla. Only done by Jaap. Also getting Stephen Hughes ready to come on as their second substitute. Neville. It's possessed so cleanly by Nigel Winterburn. Again has the friskiness of a teenager. Fourth, a genuine teenager, Anelka. Arsenal kept the ball. Dixon. Anelka wanting it threaded through. Right there if he wants to use him. By a goal already. Christopher Ray linking up with Anelka, still Ray. Anelka gets his head to it. Beckham. And he's pointing to the ball, telling Andy Cole that's what he got. And Cole didn't complain too much. After a difficult spell, Arsenal is looking to re-establish their control on the match, which is emphasised by the scoreline. Overmars bought by Gary Neville. You wouldn't expect to have further trouble with the referee in the Charity Shield, but in a Premiership game, having already booked, I don't think he's going to be trouble with Overmars maybe for much longer. But it is Mark Overmars who's going to be taken off. Well, he's scored one and he's been involved in the second. And as you look at the pictures, listen to the reception for Mark Overmars. Never shows too much emotion. His replacement is Stephen Hughes. Arsenal was so delighted that he accepted the offer of a long-term contract, having suggested earlier last season that the lack of first-team opportunity at Highbury was going to mean he was going to look for greener pastures elsewhere.
That's a sensible substitution. He's shown enough Overmars, Mark. You wouldn't want anything happening to him now. 7 days to go at the start of the season. He's ready, he looks fit, he's a certain threat. So, having had a good look at him for over an hour, let's take him off, give him half an hour's rest. No problem.
We haven't reminded you that Manchester United's Premiership season begins at Old Trafford next Saturday. They're at home to Leicester City, a fixture that they lost, of course, last season. Ferguson about to make a couple of changes. But not yet, because the ball's back in play. Solskjaer. Key. Maybe a bit fortunate to help the ball run on to Andy Cole. A little bit central for Manchester United again.
A little bit, that's what I'm saying, is that areas like this now are spreading it wide. It just opened them up a little bit.
Here's Cole. More Manchester United appeals for a penalty. Tony Adams staying down maybe because he is hurt. Maybe because it might just influence the referee's thinking on the penalty matter. Andy?
Well, I think it's a bit of both. You can see Tony Adams get nothing in his mind, Martin, but looking at the ball. And one could look at that, maybe he's taking a ride, and one could maybe say Andy Cole maybe made a back for him and just was backing into him. I think it was the right decision, nothing.
Sheringham, Philip Neville, and Jordi Cruyff coming on. Andy Cole off, Paul Scholes off, Ryan Giggs was the third. It's just recognising that his number is up.
No, we can stop judging the game as a game now, man. All the changes have been made now.
So 20 minutes to go. Petit. It's over Vieira. Jordi Cruyff, who has been around with Manchester United at Charity Shield time the last couple of years, but has had no luck at all really in putting together a consistent run of appearances in the senior team. Ended last season with a hairline fracture of the foot. Challenge in the match against Derby with virtually the last kick of the game, and the kick landed on his ankle. Petit. Yeah, up to Parler. Petit jogging on through the centre, and here's Anelka. Stam staying with him, but that's not enough, because Nicholas Anelka makes it 3-0 to Arsenal.
Well, that's a great finish, but I'm not so sure he should score there. Stam seemed to keep up with him. And with the defender not walking at him, I'm a bit surprised to see it fizz past a goalkeeper like Peter Schmeichel near post. But he held him off strongly. Gets to the not a great position, the goalkeeper, I have to say. He comes a little bit far from his line for me. And there's a pretty big gap there for Anelka to smash it through. And Nicholas Anelka playing with great confidence since the turn of this year. Well, he's just continued where he left off last season. Good finish from him, but not great defending from Manchester United.
Morte has come on for Petit, but can I refer you, Andy, to a comment you made earlier about Newcastle and that 4-0 defeat a couple of years ago here to Manchester United? Well, it's Alex Ferguson's men that are on the wrong end of an increasingly embarrassing scoreline here.
No, you don't want it. You can just sort of wash your hands of it and discard it and say, well, it's the Charity Shield, it doesn't matter. Trust me, Alex Ferguson is too much of a professional in football, steeped in football tradition and pride to take a 3-0 defeat with anything other than not well.
Well, it's 3-0 at the moment. Here's Morte.
Well, a better touch there, it might have been 4.
It's the only previous club to Arsenal to stop Manchester United's domination of the Premiership with Blackburn, and they won the title. Of course, that was the prelude not to further success, but a disappointing time at the club. So, as Alex Ferguson knows only too well, the true judge of greatness is to keep repeating at the very top, and his Manchester United has certainly done that. But it's not a successful day today by any means. Solskjaer. So Anelka scores like Overmars at the same end of the stadium at which they embellished the FA Cup final with goals. Winterburn not giving that one up, which he might have been entitled to do in these circumstances. It's not the Arsenal way. He now needs some cover, and Stephen Hughes is doing just that in the left-back position. Beckham's pass. Price, no flag for offside. And Lee Dixon, having looked across to the assistant, looks across again. But in between, he got his mind back on the job of defending.
Well, having looked for offside, he showed great recovery powers here. He's not offside by any distance, Cruyff. The ball travels so far, but great recovery from Lee Dixon. He's got 5 yards to make up. That's super determination.
Just over 15 minutes left. Corner for Manchester United, taken by Beckham. Caught with some difficulty by Seaman, but caught nonetheless. The out ball here is to Luis Morte. He gets the better of Irwin. Arsenal threatening again. Parler. Now Morte. He go all the way through. Well, it was Philip Neville who finally shut the door in his face. Arsene Wenger saying this week, Andy, that Morte is a candidate to play as an attacker if required. We think of him as a left-sided midfield player, but he's got the pace as well.
Most players that can play wide mark and attacking roles like Giggs, Morte, Overmars, you can play them almost anywhere along the front. They're comfortable as long as you get the ball.
So Roy Keane, 75 minutes under his belt, but no more. And Henning Berg, another of the players here today who appeared in the World Cup. A Norwegian who wasn't sure of a regular place for Manchester United at the back end of last season. That's a slice of the action in the Charity Shield. Your vote man of the match, but it's a new number, 0660 11 22 33. So keep that number handy and you can have your say in the man of the match situation, and we're very, very pleased to hear from you. Sheringham for Solskjaer, it's a good ball, and Solskjaer gets another chance, and David Seaman has his most difficult save of the match to make, and it stays at 3-0.
Well, they're 3-0 up the Charity Shield match, Martin, but they're still defending as if this was a cup final. Look at Keown, first of all, spreading his body to get a block on it, and then the goalkeeper, with a little bit of help from Lee Dixon. So determined as defenders that they don't want to concede a goal. They've got pride in keeping a clean sheet, just as the attackers have in scoring goals.
So another Manchester United corner. Headed by Hughes, and then by Anelka. Perfectly tailored for Ray Parlour on the run. So Anelka infield, and Bowen Water as well. And yet again, Nigel Winterburn. Hughes. And Parlour will be able to keep it alive for Arsenal. Heading out by Berg. Vieira. Nudged neatly to Dixon. And making sure he got something of the ball. There were no complaints from Bowen Morte. Andy, there'll be one or two sensational headlines if the scoreline stays this way, but can you put it into some sort of perspective for us?
I think looking at today's game, what have we learned today? I think what we've learned overall is that the champions and double winners, Martin, are ready to go again. They're ready to defend on both fronts, and their assault on Europe. The players look fit, they look sharp, they look ready. Manchester United, I would say fine-tuning is needed.
It's a booking. It's a yellow card for Philip Neville.
Just comes in a little bit late. It's his second to the right leg there. He just takes Patrick Vieira with that was the reason he got the yellow card. But I think United have got a bit of fine-tuning, as I was saying, Mark. They started brightly in the game, but I've never looked like threatening David Seaman apart from Solskjaer's shot a couple of moments ago. It's been a pretty comfortable day for the Arsenal goalkeeper, and that would worry Alex a little bit. But with a week to go, amazing what you can achieve in a week in a training ground and working. And they've got that European
10
game.
minutes or so to go here, and Arsenal have felt comfortable enough to replace the captain. A man of similar calibre, of course, Tony Adams, giving way to Steve Bold. Johnson now in midfield ahead of the two centre-backs, Berg and Stam. So Patrick Vieira, it seems, deemed to be the fittest of the four Arsenal players who went the full distance in the World Cup, at least till the last weekend of the competition. Dutchman Overmars and Bergkamp substituted. And also Petit. A handball there by Dixon, which might mean a yellow card. I think that's pretty mandatory these days. Problem, of course, for referees and players is when something like that happens early in the game, and then a second technical offence looms large, and spectators are denied an 11 against 11 contest, and they're paying, of course, very big money for that at this level. Sheringham. Just float a theory at you, Andy, that for 2 yellow cards of a non-violent nature, that the player could be substituted. He would still get a suspension, but maybe would take out some of the occasions where we've even felt as broadcasters shortchanged because the letter of the law has been applied, but the spectacle has been ruined.
I think there's a thought for anything like that, Martin, that reduces the amount of players getting sent off unnecessarily. I've always thought the punishment's got to fit the crime, and so often in the last 2 or 3 years it hasn't.
And
things
the
like that.
sin bin argument as well. Well, the goalkeeper in difficulty there with the quality of the cross, which came from Sheringham.
Good defending. Martin Keown.
Old having to attune to the pace of the match and the temperature of actually being out on the pitch. Keown's caught out by Solskjaer. Sheringham puts the ball wide, but the flag was up in any case. The best ball to Martin Keown from Lee Dixon in the first place.
No, but they do hold the line so well, don't they, this team? They're just getting a little bit of trouble here, but just watch the way they just step up. Not much in it. But you could see they go up Baldy. That start straight arm that they've got in those Arsenal shirts is there, isn't it? Straight up in the air. As soon as they step out,
that's why they do the weight training. There's going to be another change. Gilles Grimaldi. Here's Johnson. And this is the best chance for Manchester United. And I'm afraid there was no offside to help Teddy Sheringham out that time. It's a real miss.
I have to say, Mark, it's a poor finish from Teddy. He's got quality, but this, I'm not sure what he's got in mind. Did he think the goalkeeper was coming to close him down quickly? When Ronson does everything right, he's got time to hit it with his left foot. Why on earth? He's trying to run round it from the inside left position to hit it with the outside of his right. I don't know. It was there to be hit with the left foot. He's only 7, 8, 9 yards out. He really should be hitting the target at least.
Well, a rest for Patrick Vieira now. 7 minutes for Gilles Grimaldi. Beckham. Just one change to the defensive unit for Arsenal, bowl for Adams. They've still got that precious shutout intact. And Teddy Sheringham rather let them off the hook in that respect. Philip Neville, who was so shattered at Glenn Hoddle's decision. He wasn't going to the World Cup with brother Gary. Probably a surprise that was glossed over by the Paul Gascoigne affair. But a big surprise nonetheless. Jordi Cruyff. Well, there wasn't a great difference between the two teams in the first half. Arsenal taking the chance expertly through Overmars. And really got a grip in the second half with Christopher Wray making a quick impact. And Nicolas Anelka reminding us again, because he was left out very late on by Arsenal, by France rather, having been in a preliminary squad for his exploits with Arsenal. It was Dugarry who got his place. And Anelka chipping in the Charity Shield with Arsenal's third goal.
think the fact he's still a teenager, I think he's got other World Cups ahead of him that might get more involved in.
They were saying that about a certain Michael Owen yesterday. He went and, of course, returned a world star, and you wonder whether Anelka might have done the same. But Aimé Jacquet can't be criticised for getting it wrong, can he? That's the last rights here, and Manchester United had a spell in the second half when they improved as an attacking force, but defensively, well, Arsenal have certainly got the better of them. Peter Schmeichel unlucky, having made the first block there. It went straight back to Christopher Wray, who did trademark somersault on the occasion. And then certainly Andy and I were surprised when that ended up in the back of the Manchester United net, when there was just a pause as Anelka raced with Stamp before shooting, and as it turned out, scoring. And man of the match, well, certainly the Arsenal players are leading the way in that respect, you would feel. Oh, double 6-0, double 1, double 2, double 3. Ray. Hughes.
Let's just whet the appetite, I think, Martin, today for what's ahead of us in the next 7 or 8 months. 70 minutes, we had a pretty good football match here, well contested, keenly contested. Everything that they got, they had to earn then, but I think obviously since then players have been brought on to just to give them a little run, a little bit of fitness towards next weekend.
Yes, Arsenal to grips with it and dominated Manchester United, but it was still very much a serious football occasion here. Here's Cruyff, supported by Schoen. He in turn has got Owen there. The Arsenal ticket's not all sold, incidentally. For some reason, the family enclosure block from Highbury haven't come here today. Rather surprised the Football Association that those benches there are empty, but those who have come supporting Arsenal have had a day, I would think, possibly been beyond their expectations.
Day to enjoy, and you don't win anything today. You win a football match, you win a nice little medal, a little trophy, but it doesn't have to start your season in a positive vein, Martin. If you can come up against one of your major rivals and get a pretty comprehensive 3-0 victory if it stays this way.
Pretty quiet at the right-hand end of the ground. It wasn't that way before the teams came out. Manchester United supporters anxious for this season to begin, to see their favourites get in amongst it again, and you'd expect them to be up and around when the trophies are handed out in a few months' time, but well, on the evidence of this display, there's work to be done. Berg. Solskjaer. Here's Beckham. Arsenal have another corner to defend. Coming back, they've left one player upfield, Boa Morte. Nothing doing for Manchester United. Charity Shield about to go to Arsenal, who have also collected will collect the Man of the Match award. More on that in a moment, because Philip Neville might work a crossing position here. Whether Stephen Hughes has anything to say about it, which he did. Boa Morte Bounces fortunately off Anelka for Grimondi. Strong chuckle by Cry from Sheringham.
No, not the best struck shot. One thing, he shows that he hasn't got down about missing that relatively easy chance, Martin. He wasn't shy and he wasn't found wanting and having a shot from there. Didn't look to pass it, took responsibility. That's probably the goalkeeper.
Well, the man of the match is Mark Overmars. This is replacement Hughes, getting it to Fowler. The players still looking for goal number 4, including the winning Winterburn.
I think he's had a great game. I know obviously Overmars' contribution as an attacker is there, but Winterburn's been absolutely sensational this afternoon.
Stoppage time at Wembley. As a context, the match long over. Price. Beckham. Well, the force is still with Arsenal. Their edge over Manchester United, so decisive in the Championship, still in place as these two giants of the English game get ready for the real tussles ahead. Arsene Wenger's team 3-0 winners here over Alex Ferguson's men. Christopher Wray coming on to score in the second half. Anelka got the third. Mark Overmars, the man of the match, opened it up at an important stage after half an hour or so, when there was very little between the two sides in a very competitive opening phase. And Arsenal win the Charity Shield for the first time outright since 1953. An unusual southern success on this occasion, which has been dominated by clubs from the northwest in the 25 times it's been a Wembley event. Well played Arsenal, Andy.
Very much well played Arsenal, Martin. It's funny, they've got that winning habit, haven't they? And they're just rolling on, starting today, and 3 super goals, I have to say. Great finishes, all of them. Well worked goals. I mean, that one from Overmars, a clinical finish, absolutely superb, and he had a huge hand in the second one, where he didn't panic. It's give him that when the ball came back to him off the goalkeeper and just slid it in. And then Anelka, who, well, in January you thought, well, maybe this was a wise buy, suddenly has turned his whole football career in this country right on its head, and now looks a very, very accomplished striker.
Arsene Wenger looking fresh and happy. He hasn't had much time off. He was working for French television during the World Cup. Suitable perhaps that the champions and the FA Cup winners have beaten the invited guests here today. But a rare failure in this fixture for Manchester United, who have been victorious in 4 of the previous 5 years.
Well, a great team, Manchester United, man. We have to say that because of what's saying, Ray. It's been, they've shown you. They spanked our bottom last week, 3-0 at Wembley. We've got to be at our best for 9 months this season if we're going to win the Championship back off them. So he'll use it to his advantage. But Arsenal have shown everyone, not just Manchester United, but all the other sides in the Premiership, that they aim to be a major force this year yet again.
And just before Arsenal go up, a word on the nil on the Manchester United scoreline and the talk of the need for a new striker.
Well, it's been, what, 6, 7, 8 weeks now the Dwight York saga has gone on, and Alex has come out in the press and has said quite publicly that he hoped that he would get Dwight York in sooner rather than later. And today, the ineffectiveness really up front might just make that man there move a little bit quicker. He's not one to sit around, Martin, and accept second best for very long. And it might just move that along a bit. I think watch this space in the next 7 days.
Happy memories. The FA Cup finished off at triumphant time 3 months ago. And it's Another trophy for Tony Adams and his team. As an appetizer for the new campaign, Arsenal have the Charity Shield. Come back, those who've had great World Cups. Remember Mark Overmars and Dennis Bergkamp involved with the team that finished 4th in France and played all the way through the full 7-game complement, and no lack of concentration from Messrs Vieira and Petit. And you might forgive it after what they've been through.
Tony Adams, Mark Overmars, Nicholas Anelka, of course. United, well, they're without Roy Keane and Ryan Giggs, of course, and Gary Neville, but there's still plenty of talent on view this afternoon, I promise you. Let's take a look at the lineup, starting with Arsenal. And, of course, with David Seaman having that calf injury, Alex Manninger has come into the side. No Tony Adams, of course, so there's a chance then for Gilles Grimondi in the back four for Arsenal. A debut for the Brazilian Sildino, £4 million signing during the summer. And of course, up front, in the absence of Anelka and Bergkamp, well, Kanu, the Nigerian who did so well at the end of last season, and Freddie Ljungberg, who actually scored against Manchester United for Arsenal way back in September last season, so he'll have happy memories of playing United. Just a word about the Arsenal bench. 2 goalkeepers have been named on that bench, the experienced John Lukic and Stuart Naylor. That's because, reliably informed by Pat Rice, the assistant manager, there just aren't enough bodies to go around, and they wanted to give Stuart Naylor a bit of experience of the big time. So he's on the bench along with the Ukrainian Oleg Luzhny, who played here at Wembley against Arsenal for Dynamo Kiev in the European Champions League. Christopher Ray's there, and another new signing, the German Stefan Maltz. So Arsenal will hope they've got the strength in depth. On to Manchester United, and of course Mark Bosnich comes into a goal in place of Peter Schmeichel. No Gary Neville, as we mentioned, so Phil Neville, his brother, will take over. We've got Henning Berg in the back four because Ronnie Johnson has still got a problem with his knee. Moving into midfield, well, of course, they've got David Beckham playing, so they'll be very pleased with that. Scholes and Butt, so plenty of experience, but Jordi Cruyff gets a rare run out. Jordi Cruyff a chance to stake a place in the team early on. Up front, the 53-goal pairing of Dwight Yorke and Andy Cole. And among the substitutes for Manchester United, well, super sub Teddy Sheringham and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the men who scored those goals in the European Cup final. Well, I've been reliably informed by the Wembley ground staff that temperatures out here at pitch level are now into the 90s. Let's hope the football can match the temperature. Richard.
It will. 2 fabulous teams. Defeat in 7 against Manchester United. This today, the 4th meeting at Wembley. The first, the 1979 FA Cup final. Arsenal won that by 3 goals to 2. The 2 central characters involved, Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger. 9 games now. That was Fergie's most recent win. He won the first 2, but in betweens, Arsene Wenger was unbeaten in the 6 matches. He's got a good record against him. Just watching that game, the impact that...
To Trevor about it as a managerial situation. Now, you had something similar in your friendly yesterday. Birmingham played Leeds, and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank has made some demands, Anelka-like, and the fans have turned against him, it seems, at Leeds.
Well, not just the fans of Leeds, Martin. I think what was interesting that also the fans of Birmingham City also joined in. They were very much united.
As I was indicating last season, they can make up that ground, but it is so difficult. You don't want to lose ground at the start, but this is a good team, Arsenal. They're strong, they're powerful, and they've got players who want to play for Arsenal Football Club, apart from Nicholas Anelka.
Fantastic teams that have won the lot over the last decade. Great admiration for each other. I suspect not too much friendship. Well, they're amongst the front 2 that are leading them out, Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger. Come on, Manu. Andy Cole, the last man. And here we go again. In the baking heat, a brand new season, the last of this century. the first of a brand new century. But right up against it, of course, who will be the first champions of a new decade, a new millennium. Mark Bosnich gets a first taste of the sunlight. We haven't seen him at all during the warm-up. I know he's a... what's the word I'm looking for here, Lou? Help me. A character in his own right.
On Monday, Dixon and Winterburn still the two fullbacks, but Tony Adams has had a hernia op. It's Gilles Grimaldi with Martin Keown in the centre of the defence. The first choice midfield three are here today, but last season's top attackers all missing. Bergkamp and Overmars injured, the Anelka mutiny, you know all about that. So it's Kanu up front. Ljungberg will support him. Silvinho on the left, the Brazilian, one of three summer signings. The other two, Luzhny and Maltz, are on the bench.
Yes, it's a familiar shape to the Arsenal lineup, 4-4-2. I rather feel they're handicapped to the heart of the defence. Upston and Adams missing through injury. Bold moved on to Sunderland. So a return to the side for Grimaldi. The other three players established, very experienced at the back, Dixon, Keown and Winterburn. Midfield, we look forward to seeing Silvinho. Don't know too much about him, but he'll take his place on the left-hand side. I'm sure he'll do a guarding job on David Beckham. And up front, well, we normally talk about the pace of Anelka, also the pace of Overmars. They haven't got that pace today, but I think in Ljungberg and Kanu, they've got two very, very talented players, but players who I don't think would disturb Manchester United going in behind, but they're very, very talented having the ball to their feet.
Manchester United come here without Keane, Gary Neville, Johnson, plus the unfortunate Wes Brown, who seriously damaged the knee in midweek training. We wish him well. Ryan Giggs is almost fully fit, but not risk today. Jesper Blomqvist also not 100%, so there's a place for Jordi Cruyff, back from his loan to Celta Vigo last season. Their one new signing, a familiar face, and an Old Trafford old boy. It's Mark Bosnich.
Well, just like Arsenal, Alex Ferguson prefers the 4-4-2 formation. We've spoken about some of the players who are missing from that lineup, but what doesn't change is the shape, nor for that matter the balance. I think the best way of indicating just how strong Manchester United are is that on the left-hand side they're without Blomqvist and also Ryan Giggs. But it doesn't seem to matter, Martin, because they can bring in Jordi Cruyff, a rare outing for him. And I think that's an indication, the best indication of just how strong they are, that despite that, without two international players, they can still call on somebody like Cruyff just to give them that balance that they need to play the 4-4-2 formation.
And they brought back Mark Bosnich, 8 years away. He left under something of a cloud. I think there was a problem about a work permit, but the understanding at Manchester United was that if he could solve that, he would come back to Old Trafford. Peter Schmeichel had been installed then. Ron Atkinson played a clever stroke and got Mark Bosnich to Aston Villa, where he has been such a stalwart. But I just wonder, Trevor, the fact that he has played for Manchester United before, 3 games in the old First Division at the start of the decade, will just ease the difficulty of any player coming into a squad and a setup like this.
I think this fella here is so confident that he takes it all in his stride. He still spends a lot of time in the Midlands area, and he was talking to somebody I know quite recently, and he's just come back off tour, travelling all over, I think it's China and Australia. What struck him was he couldn't believe the attention that's focused on Manchester United. It was a new experience for him, something that took him a little bit of time to get used to.
Well, it might have seemed a short summer, but I must say the familiar tingle of anticipation when the teams came out in this wonderful setting on a wonderful day. Weather-wise, not so wonderful for the players. That little shower just teased them, really. It's baking hot out there. It's Arsenal in their first choice colours. Manchester United switching to white shirts today. Lee Dixon, Ray Parlour well forward, and a chance to take on Dennis Irwin. The ball deflects off Irwin, and Arsenal have a corner. Martin Keown wearing number 5 this season, with Steve Bold moved on to Sunderland, has come forward. The corner will be taken by Petit, headed on by Ljungberg, usefully. And it came out to Silvinho. What a start that would have been for the Brazilian, who is really by trade a left-back. The next in line to Roberto Carlos.
Well, whoever got the block in here, I think it was Paul Scholes. It was a vitally important block. So I think this shot was definitely going to be on target. Well, it wasn't Paul Scholes, but an important block, whoever it was.